Now, from the University of Okoboji, it's Okoboji Broadcast with Jeff Thee.
Welcome to Okoboji Broadcast, everybody. I'm Jeff Thee on a bright, sunny day in the Iowa Great Lakes, and it's always sunny inside, of course, the Dickinson County Museum with director Mary Dreier. It is. It's bright and sunny, isn't it? Isn't it just wonderful?
And we're going to be talking about bright and sunny today.
Well, good.
We really are.
You fell right in.
That was a great segue.
Well,
it was just,
and I didn't even know
we
it.
did not rehearse this.
Yeah, I'm sure that comes as a shock to. Well, doesn't come as a shock to us, but
yes.
We're talking about
bright and sunny.
Bright and sunny.
Yes. And that's how I'm going to lead into our topic for today.
Oh, very good.
That is that this weekend I spent some time up on the northwest shore of Big Spirit Lake. Mm-hmm. You might know, I like to look for rocks.
Yes.
In the water. I like to wade in the water and look for rocks. And, if an arrowhead found its way into my little rock stick, I would happily pick it up.
Yes.
But I was up on the northwest corner of Big Spirit Lake in the area where Crandall's Lodge once was. And being there, it's just gorgeous. It had been a while since I'd been there. Mm-hmm. But I would say that Crandall's Beach is one of the primo locations in the whole county.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful. And the sand on the beach is glorious. It's like, dare I say, almost Caribbean sand.
Oh, yes.
It's really nice.
That fine.
Well, yeah, it's like real sand. It's not rocks. Anyway, so I became enamored with that area after being out in the warm sunshine, wading in the water with my little rock stick earlier this week. And I thought, ooh, this would make a good topic for today. And therefore, we are going to do it today.
Very good.
Yes, because Crandall's Lodge has a very long history here at the Lakes area. And like I said, it just helped me think about what this area was like back in the early days, because Crandall's Beach was home to the very first lodging place for hunters and fishermen in the whole area.
Now, when you say early days, what...
Well, Hunter's Lodge was built in 1871.
Okay.
When I say early days,
that's early.
That's way early.
Yes, it is.
And it was, when it was built, there wasn't much to it. It was pretty much an open space,
right.
Open wood building, and there were bunks in it for hunters and fishermen. And in an 1879 issue of the Spirit Lake Beacon, this is so cool. A clipping suggested that the lodge was so busy that Orlando Crandall had to hang guests in trees.
Well, there's something you don't see in an ad for Holiday Inn.
No, but it just...
if we don't have space, we'll put you in a tree.
I love this image of these guys hanging around in trees.
Yeah.
Anyway, but it was a busy resort. Orlando Crandall had come here from New York. Mm-hmm. The first time he was here was about 1866, because he had purchased some land on the northwest shore of Big Spirit Lake.
Sight unseen.
Sight unseen, of course.
Yes.
From, are you ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Your and my favorite character from the past of Spirit Lake, J.S. Prescott, who we like to call Snidely Whiplash. Snidely Whiplash, yes. So, Orlando Crandall bought this land, sight unseen, 1866. He got here, and guess what he found out?
Huh?
Most of the land was under Spirit Lake. Most of the land he bought
was, excuse me, it was underwater?
It was underwater.
I got a swamp I'd like to sell you.
And that's what happened here.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you can't build a hotel underwater.
No.
It just doesn't work.
That's worse than trees.
Yes. But it ended up that Orlando Crandall did build another hotel after Hunter's Lodge, which again was very primitive.
Right.
He built this second hotel known as Crandall's Lodge in about 1879, I believe. Crandall's Lodge was a fancy schmancy hotel built during the Victorian era. So it had lots of bric-a-brac, like this piece. And believe it or not, Jeff, 5 minutes ago,
This just walked in the door.
This walked in the door. This is a little piece of the Victorian bric-a-brac that was part of Crandall's Lodge.
Wow.
This nice gentleman brought it in and said he was looking for a home for it. As we're talking about Crandall's Lodge.
Well, yeah. Can you imagine? I wonder how long he's had it and how he obtained it. I mean, interesting.
Honestly, because we had to start this interview, I wasn't able to do the full-blown talk with him.
And he did. He walked in the door and he goes, I got this from Crandall's Beach, and we're talking about it.
it's very cool. But it just goes to show you that Crandall's Lodge was more than a hunter's and fisherman's place to stay.
Right.
It was a vacation place to come. It was fashionable. It was said to mirror the comfort, convenience, and hospitality of his hotel in Spirit Lake. You may not know, Jeff, but Crandall had the Crandall House, which is where the Antlers Hotel is now. It predated the Antlers Hotel.
No, I did not know that.
Yeah, that's where Crandall got his start.
That sounds like Johnny Carson. I did not know that. Yeah.
That's right. And of course, like all of the early resorts, the only way to get there, really, the best way to get there was by...
I imagine steamboat.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Ding, 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 ding.
I win.
Yes. So anyway, Crandall's Lodge existed for a long time. It was added on to, dining room was added to it. There were wings and just on the sides. I mean, it was big. As you look at the picture, you can see that it really was big. I mean, I can remember going by there once when I was a little kid.
Okay.
And all I remember is this white building that was, by that time, pretty shabby.
Yeah.
But in its day, Crandall's Lodge was absolutely fabulous. Back in 1966, a young girl named Sharon Baldwin, she was 13 years old, wrote a letter to Crandall's Lodge telling why she liked the lodge. And it starts out, in northern Iowa is a quaint old lodge filled with fond memories for me and other members of my family. Crandall's Lodge on Big Spirit Lake. The lodge is nearly 100 years old. The rooms are furnished with authentic antique furniture, each room containing a washstand, a porcelain basin, and a pitcher. Now remember, 1966.
Yeah.
In our lifetime, Jeff.
Right.
In all the rooms, a musty odor hangs, far different from the smoke-steeped smell of motel rooms. The dining room below the sleeping quarters is done in a rustic decor simply because it has never been changed. On the walls hang trophies of deer, elk, and other wildlife, and pictures of some of the old owners of the lodge. The food is delicious. Much of it is grown in the large garden behind the kitchen, and all of it is home cooked. A far cry from the frozen pre-cooked food found in many restaurants today. Extending around the front of the lodge on both floors is a porch where one can sit and meditate and look at the beautiful misty lake. Doesn't that sound wonderful?
How old was this young lady when
she was 13 when she wrote this in 1966.
I'm well over 13. I still can't write that way.
I know.
Very
I just
well
love
written.
it. And accompanying this little letter is a photograph of Crandall's Lodge, probably about that time. And I did not know this, Jeff, but there was a barn to the north of Crandall's Lodge.
Yeah.
Not just a barn. Didn't just have cows and pigs in it. It was actually the scene of private events and numerous adult and teenage dances.
Oh, wow.
And another hot topic that you and I have talked about quite a bit. Reportedly, it was a stop for bootleggers taking advantage of Minnesota's more liberal liquor laws in the days after Prohibition.
Them bootleggers were busy back then, weren't they?
They really were. They had thriving businesses. So Crandall's Lodge had a long history. It was torn down in 1976, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Do you remember it?
You know, of all the times we came here when I was in that era, I don't remember going to the north side a lot. It
was a long ways.
Yeah, it was a long ways, and unless you had family or something up there, so I don't recall it. You're lucky you do.
But like I said, just barely.
Yeah.
Just barely. There was another lodge on the north side of Big Spirit Lake, Sampson's Lodge, and it was built early also, 1870s era, and it was where Minnewacan State Park is now.
Oh, okay.
And it was another one that kind of featured lodging for hunters and fishermen, to the point that they offered free fishing tackle and boats.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I wonder when the shelter came around.
Long after this.
Okay.
Well, the shelter up there is CCC era.
I was going to say part of the new, or not New Deal,
Yeah.
but Roosevelt.
Right, and that's 1930s.
Okay, yeah.
So this is long before that. In fact, this lodge closed around 1911,
Okay.
and the lumber was repurposed to create a small vacation cottage next
Okay.
door. Yeah. Spirit Lake has such a great history to it.
Yeah.
You know, it's where the tourism industry started here.
It really did.
We've talked
Yeah.
about that a lot.
Yeah.
But even back then, it was the place for hunters and fishermen. It was the quiet lake. It's still the quiet lake, and just beautiful.
Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful.
And to think that, a lot of our tourism, call it tourism at that point, was hunting and fishing.
It was.
And while fishing still very prominent here.
But even more so back then.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
I'm not sure if we've talked about this or not, but the railroads provided free passage for anybody's hunting dogs, hunting equipment, fishing equipment, that kind of stuff, in order to encourage in the first days the hunters and fishermen to come here. That's what brought folks here at the first.
And you didn't have to call them service dogs. They were just your hunting dog. And
That's right.
And Rex can come along. Yeah.
That's right. So these old hotels, fabulous stories.
Well, and it isn't special that this just happened to walk in the doors. We were talking about this.
I mean, come on.
Do you have any other pieces of the hotel?
We have a few pieces.
Okay.
I think we've got a couple of chairs, photographs, of course.
Yes.
We have, I know we've got the chairs, probably some other stuff too.
Yeah.
But the timing on this.
But this
is very cool.
yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. A lot of the information that I shared today came from the book Lost Resorts of the Iowa Great Lakes by Jonathan Reed.
Yeah.
Who happens to be the president of the museum board.
Right.
And this is one of my very favorite books. Lots of photos.
Yep.
I like photos. And really...
Well, they make it real.
Yeah.
You can read about it all day, but then to see a photo.
Yeah, and the text isn't just information.
Yeah.
It's more stories, and it's, like the bootleggers in the barn.
Well, yeah.
Crandall's Lodge. It's the really interesting stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Making history fun.
Yeah, which we all enjoy.
That's right.
Speaking of which, we have a fun history day coming up.
Okay, what are you doing?
October 12th, so this is just kind of the first announcement of this. October 12th, we're having a family fun day on the prairie here at the museum. It's a Saturday morning. It will start at 10 and be over at 11:30. It's going to be featuring our covered wagon.
Oh, yes.
And we'll be doing stories and crafts and having snacks and playing pioneer-style games, hopefully outside if the weather cooperates. And also, the thing that I think that I'm most excited about is we're going to draw an outline of a covered wagon on the floor out in the freight room. And we're going to have items that folks would have brought along with them in a covered wagon. We're going to have the kids pack that wagon.
Oh, wow.
And I can hardly wait to see the kids figure out that maybe taking the pump organ isn't the best thing to bring. Yeah.
In a day where all they really want to bring is their phone because, all the entertainment's right there.
Yeah. But these wagons, 4 by 8 feet.
Yeah.
And they had to bring all their the goods that they needed.
Yeah.
And all the food and everything.
It's just a different mindset than anything that we could ever conceive,
I know. So I hope what we want here at the museum is for kids to experience history, not just look at it, but to experience it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, my friend. Well, thank you for another trip down memory lane.
Yes. Thank you for playing along, Jeff.
Oh, yes. It's always my pleasure indeed. Of course, we love our history right here at the Dickinson County Museum. We thank Mary for her time, and as always, we thank you for watching us right here on Okoboji Broadcast.
Okoboji Broadcast from the studios at historic Arnold's Park Amusement Park is brought to you in part by West Wealth Management, a financial advisory practice of Ameriprise Financial Services. Advisor Jan Spielman, AJ Spielman, and Erica Wachholz. The headquarters of the University of Okoboji is at the Three Sons, open Monday through Saturday 10 to 5 and Sunday from 10 to 4. Bank Midwest, dream big, plan wisely, live well. Lakes Regional Healthcare and Avera Partner. Beck Engineering in Spirit Lake. Be Radiant Laser Skin Studio in the Okoboji Plaza in Okoboji.